Greetings, guys and gals. This is Jaedong bringing you the best esports. Today, I'm bringing you StarCraft Brood War, the Shinhan Winners League. This is going to be KT Rolster versus Hwaseung on Benzene Set 1. We have Jaedong versus Violet. Jaedong spawning at the bottom left as the red Zerg player. At the top right, we have Violet, who looks like he's 50, although he's wearing a very, very cool KT Rolster head jacket. He's going to be spawning as the Protoss player in Peach. This is on Benzene, like I said before, 2-player map. At the cross positions, very, very big, very, very macro intensive map. And I think that this is going to benefit Jaedong a little bit more, just because Jaedong has so much more experience than Violet does. Violet has around 60-ish wins, 60-ish losses. Pretty good player. I mean, a lot of people like him actually, just because of his unique style of play. But I honestly, I don't really care for him too much. He does have a cool name. I think Violet's a pretty cool name. But we'll have to see. His worst matchup is Zerg, which is like a really bad 44% or something like that, and that's really bad for him. And of course, we know Jaedong is good against all races. Obviously, his best matchup is against Zerg, but he is very, very good against Protoss, as well as we see with Bisu and Cal and Stork. You know, all those games he does very, very well in. Although Jaedong hasn't been really playing too, looks like that was an overpull. He's not been playing too, like the top of his game, the very, very tip top of his game. He's not really on that type of level. He's just kind of playing a little bit lackluster, kind of, like, you can't say mediocre, and you can't say that he's in a slump, but for Jaedong, he's not playing as well as you would hope. And I think that the big thing is it's taken a toll on him, the fact that he is now out of the OSL. I hope that doesn't spoil that for anyone. Forge going down first, as Violet did see the spawning pool kind of relatively early. But it's that he's out of the OSL, he's having a tough time in the MSL, and Hwaseung has no other good players besides him, and now that it's the Winners League, he's pretty much going to have to play every match. He's going to have to win it for his team. Obviously, Hwaseung is not doing very well at all in the Pro League. They're definitely one of the bottom teams. I thought at one point they were the worst team. They might still be the worst team. But they just rely on him so badly, and Hwaseung, if they want to be good at all, they need to get another player that's even mediocrely good. They just have a crap ton of players. Gateway and Cannon and Nexus going down as well. The girl on the left is a little bit cuter than the one on the right. It's okay though. Extractor going down for Jaedong as well. And this probe is being really, really annoying. Here comes some Zerglings. Cannon morphing in just in time. Violet having to pull 2 probes just for an extra block off. But yeah, in my opinion, I think that Hwaseung needs to do something very, very quickly, or they're going to just kill Jaedong, absolutely kill him, because Jaedong's had to rely on so much. He's played pretty much all of the ace matches that Hwaseung has gone to, and he's just under so much pressure to win. Even in the Pro League, where he might just play one match, he's on so much pressure because they really just kind of rely on him for that win, for that instant win. They just kind of assume that he's going to win, and they really need another player. No more Zerglings out for Jaedong for the time being. He did double expand to that 6 o'clock-ish base, or you call it 7 o'clock, I guess. Lair morphing at the natural, which is what a lot of players do, just in case the Protoss player wants to put on some early pressure there. Natural hatchery is going to have more hit points than it normally would. Cybernetics core going down as well, so we're going to see that starport fairly early. Zealot now out for Violet. Jaedong's Overlord obviously sees that. And very, very super standard ZVP or PVC. No, it's not a pipe. PVZ, however you want to put it. Probe's not yet on that second assimilator. We do have 3 at the main. So getting gas, probably going to transfer some probes to that assimilator so we can go for more techie stuff very, very soon. Probe trying to get in, not able to. 2 Zerglings pick it off. And once that layer morphs, I'm assuming on this specific map we're going to see more Lurker Ling play. I could obviously be wrong, but I think he's going to go for more Lurker Ling play. Obviously he wants to get that Spire up to deter any type of Corsair harass that that he could be doing. And Violet going for that early Citadel, and that's what so many Protest players have been doing lately. They've been going for that early Citadel, early speed lots with the +1 attack, and they've been doing very, very well with it. And it makes sense because usually players go for that Forge first so they can get up cannons at their front. But when you do the Forge Fast Expand, you also have the ability to get upgrades, and if you get that early +1, it's very, very hard for these Zergs to deal with it. I think Zergs need to evolve or do something differently, because it's almost impossible to deal with this +1 Zealot kind of timing attack. And I honestly, all the games that I've watched recently, I have not seen a Zerg player win against this +1 timing attack. It's just so hard. And once you get up your Templar Archives, you get Archons in the mix, and it's just a huge ground army. And Mutalisks don't do a lot because there's Corsairs in the air, and there's really not a lot you can do against it comparatively, especially if the Zerg player goes for this double expansion type build. I think what Zerg players might have to do is not go for the double expand and just simply go for 2 base and then get like in-base hatcheries at both. That'll help them kind of block off and choke off their chokes a little bit better, and they'll be able to defend a little bit better, I think. But for the time being, it's really hard to defend this Zealot push when you go for a double expansion like most players like going. Temple Archives now up. We see that Core is spinning, obviously, for +1 air attack. And I didn't see if the Forge was spinning, which is really peculiar, because if he wants to go for this time attack, he should have started his +1 attack by now. It looks like he might opt not to go for that +1 attack. And that +1 attack is so crucial because it allows the Zealots to kill Zerglings in 1 less hit, which is really, really important if you're going to go for this timing push. He did opt to go for DTs, so might do a little bit of DT harassment, try to deny Jaedong there, and then go for the +1 and that big Zealot push. But I don't know. I don't really know how I like this play, because he's got Overlords pretty much at every single one of his bases. He's going to be definitely okay in that aspect, unless he brings all of his Corsairs in and tries to attack that way. He's not really going to be able to do a whole lot. Corsairs picking off an Overlord in the midfield, not really going to matter in terms of DTs though. And able to pick off 2 Skurs as well, so those Skurs not landing. Jaedong does have 4 more Skurs. He is building Spore Colonies against this, almost getting the Skurs hit off on that Corsair, but not quite. Skurs following these Corsairs, probably not going to get a hit on them at any rate. Jaedong looks like he's moving a force in at the top there of Zerglings, possibly just for scouting. Looks like more forces streaming in as well, and kind of persisting with this Zergling. He does have his Hydralisk Den up, probably going to go for Lurkers. This map is just, in my opinion, just a lot better for Lurkers than it is for something like a Muta push or anything like that. And usually in ZVPs, Zerg players like to go Lurker anyways. This DT doing a little bit of damage though to these Zerglings. Needs to be careful. I'm assuming that Jaedong is going to upgrade his Overlord speed very, very quickly, just because he knows these DTs are out, and he's gonna honestly need it if he's going to attempt to go for any type of push and kill off any observers that are going to be there for those Lurkers. But honestly, I don't think that he's gotten his robotics facility yet. They haven't really clicked on his base recently, but he could be just amassing for that big Zealot push. And when you go for that Zealot push, obviously you do not get your robotics in any timely manner. All of those Overlords get pecked off. The DTs are just doing a lot of damage. Obviously they're getting attacked somehow. I think that Spore Colony did have sight on that DT there. But yeah, Lurkers now in the mix. That DT was deterred, got a little bit of damage off. We have Templar now out for Violet. Has automatically made them, well, not automatically, I guess, instantly rather, made them into an Archon. And here he comes with this Zealot push. Does not have observers in the area, so that Lurker can really burrow whenever it wants. Picking off more Overlords, doing a very nice job pulling the damaged ones. And he's going to be able to pick off more and more Overlords as time progresses on. That Spore Colony is just too annoying. It looks like Jaedong's morphing a Sunken at the front of his 3rd base. We do see more Gateways going up as well. a lot more pylons. We do have the observatory up, so we are going to get some observers in the area fairly soon. But he opted to go for his robotics fairly early, which is going to mean that he's going to have less zealots and less Templar, obviously, because the robotics and the observatory eat up gas, and so do observers, although not as much as in StarCraft. In StarCraft 2, especially before patch 1.2, the observers were like 50 or 75, I believe, minerals and like 100 gas. They were really, really expensive, and so Protoss players didn't really build a lot of them. Corsairs coming in yet again, picking off 2 more Overlords, not going to be attacked by the Scourge, but oh, he actually is trying to kill the Scourge before they come into him. I think he would have been better running off a little bit farther, but actually losing 1 Corsair to that Scourge. Hive Tech now up for Jaedong. It looks like he's going to go Hive Tech off of these 3 bases. I don't really like that play. He needs his I guess he's going to go for Plague, maybe? I don't know why he would really going to go for Swarm, because this army is super zealot heavy, and why he has his Hive at this point in the game, not entirely sure, especially off these 3 bases. He's not going to be able to do a whole lot. More zealots streaming in, and so that Hive isn't really going to do a whole lot for him. He is getting his Defiler's Mound, but Plague is really the only thing that's going to be super effective against the zealot army, because obviously it's not going to do anything in terms of swarms if the army is still with the composition of a lot of zealots. Archons do splash damage under swarms, so really not going to matter that much. That Hive Tech and that Defiler's Mound. We do see more High Templar. Hopefully he's researched Storm, because that's going to be really, really important in the later game. But Violet just being really content not to push in, not to go in for an attack, and he's kind of going for this delayed Zealot push, because usually by this time we see a little bit more Dragoons in the mix. We do see a lot of Zealots still, but a little bit more Dragoons. Now the Dragoons coming out, it's usually Dragoons, Archons, and Templar, and Zealots. But really, really Dragoon heavy is a little bit more common, or at least more Dragoons that Violet has in the mix. Violet is also picking up his 3rd base, getting that up and running very, very shortly. Meanwhile, Jaedong is trying to pick up his 4th, and so Jaedong is going to be ahead in bases, but the economies are going to be about equal, just because the saturation at the Zerg bases aren't going to be as good. Actually building double hatcheries at that 9:30, 10 o'clock position. DT's still out on the field trying to do some harassment with these DTs, and it looks like Jaedong actually might be switching tech and going for a little bit of a Hydralisk break here instead of getting a lot of Lurkers. He did build a lot of Hydralisks, which usually don't see that many Hydralisks in the mix if you're getting Lurkers. Violet might be actually double expanding. It's very, very possible he's double expanding. Don't know if he has that base at that 4 o'clock position. Possibly does have that base up and running, so he's going to be at 4 bases. With Jaedong's 4 bases, that's not going to be good for Jaedong. But if anyone can pull it off, it's going to be Jaedong. And ooh, Lurkers under that tile set. That's going to be, I can barely even see those. That's going to be almost impossible to see. Very, very good job by Jaedong. And here comes Violet with just an absolute huge Protoss ball army. Does not have a lot of Archons in the mix, but does have Templar, which are going to be able to do just massive amounts of storms. These Zerglings aren't going to be able to nearly do anything. That bottom right base does get up for Violet. It looks like he might be going in to attack this 9:30, 10 o'clock base here. He is moving across that bridge. Jaedong needs to be very, very careful that he doesn't get caught out in the open, because this Protoss ball is going to be very, very hard to beat. He just has so many units. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like super close or even max out at 200 food at this point in the game. That Protoss ball is just so big, not even using all of his units. Here he comes engaging over the bridge. Needs to be very careful. If he gets over the bridge, then this base is definitely going to go down. Storms, very, very good storms. Cannot really see any of the Lurkers. Play going on those Dragoons. And now we see the Swarm, which is going to be a little bit more effective now that the army is a little bit more Dragoon heavy, but there's still so many Zealots in the mix, and Storms really aren't going to be affected by that Swarm either. Here comes a Overlord trying to spot some DTs, I believe, and just more units trying to stream in for Jaedong, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to be enough. He does have Zerglings in the mix. Zerglings are very, very good against this Dragoon heavy army, but there's Zealots and Archons and actually able to push Violet back. Violet's going to have to fall back a little bit. These swarms just a little bit too much from his army, is a little bit too Dragoon heavy, as we see another swarm going down, so Violet's definitely going to have to back up until he gets more Zealots in the mix. But Jaedong just not reinforcing with really a ton of units, just all Zerglings. Doesn't have any Hydras, doesn't have a ton of Lurkers either. And I don't know if he's gotten a whole lot of upgrades. We do see a Robotics Bay, so we are going to see some Reavers in the near future. He has +2 Carapace for ground, I believe, +2 or 3. It looks like Violet doesn't have any upgrades actually, which is very, very surprising. Oh no, he does have +3 attack. Never mind, both players at +3 or +2. I can't really tell, sorry. It's just really hard to see. It's not even the video quality is bad, it's just very, very hard to see. But meanwhile, Violet streaming in more units, swarms going down everywhere, but just all over the Zealots, not doing anything really. He's going to have to come through this little tiny choke, and Jaedong's forces are just getting absolutely slaughtered here. Good play going off on those Zealots. Just a ton of Zealots got plagued just there. That's going to be very, very effective. However, more swarms going down, and these swarms are just not being effective. They're just absolutely not being effective against these 4 Dragoons. Yeah, maybe, but there's DTs in the mix, there's Zealots in the mix, and they're just going to eat these Zerglings alive, especially with that +3 attack. Very, very bad for Jaedong. Jaedong is in huge trouble. Violet's taking another base at the 1 o'clock, and so he's going to be at 5 bases to Jaedong's like 3.5. We have a Reaver in the mix as well, which is going to do so much damage, just absolute ridiculous damage. Lurker just dying. Here comes more Zerglings, but I honestly don't think this will be enough. Good micro by Violet, not getting any attack off on his Reaver. And oh my gosh, they need to kill that. They need to kill that Defiler though. That Defiler just kind of running out in the open and just being free and not getting attacked for some odd reason. That Overlord's probably going to go down as well. We have another shuttle coming in. He's got speed for his shuttle at this point in the game. Reaver moving in as well. He's probably going to be able to take this Nidus canal, which is going to make it a lot harder for Jaedong to reinforce from that 6 o'clock base. Violet just streaming in units, making Archons. I'm going a lot more Zealot heavy. I think that's very, very smart. He's distance mining for some reason. A little bit of mismicro there from those probes at the top. Losing the Reaver. Hydra's able to pick off the Reaver, but Violet is just being absolutely relentless. Just coming in here, going to be able to pick off the hatch. Probably going to be able to push in. Looks like he might be backing up, but no, he's going in for just an all-out attack here. Might be able to take down the Hive as well, which is going to be absolutely terrible for Jaedong. Jaedong, man, what is going on? And he knows he's going to GG. He knows he's about to GG. You can just see it on his face. Jaedong is one of those players that he's not a Bisu. He definitely makes facial expressions. Bisu's actually made some facial expressions recently. I think he's gotten a little bit more emotional about the game, but Jaedong absolutely disappointed in himself that he could not pull out the win. And you can just visibly see it on his face. He is having some tough time lately, and I feel really, really bad for him. But Violet, man, doing a very, very nice job, and he's really just knocked out the hardest person in Hwaseung Oz's arsenal. So props to him. If you guys like this cast, please subscribe. Please give me a like. Remember that you can follow me on Twitter. It's the same name as my YouTube name. And if you guys ever want play some StarCraft 2, I'm definitely down to play. All that information is on my YouTube channel page. That's it for me, guys. I'm out of here. Lates.